There's a fresh deal stirring things up in Chicago, and it's got people talking. Fans, analysts, everyone. We got a linebacker locking in a contract extension that not only speaks volumes about the team's direction, but also gives us a lot to chew on as we edge closer to the NFL draft. So, let's break it all down because this isn't just about numbers on paper. It's about a team trying to secure its future, one smart move at a time. 1 year left on the current deal, and boom, they go ahead and tack on 2 more. We're talking about a $20 million extension with a massive chunk of that, $16.6 million, fully guaranteed. That's no small show of faith from the front office. And when you factor in the $7 million already on the books for the final year of his existing contract, this becomes a full 3-year package worth $27 million. Not bad at all, especially when you consider the kind of player we're talking about. This guy isn't the flashiest, but what he brings to the field, the grit, the leadership, the consistency, that's the kind of thing that builds championship-level defenses. Now, looking at this from a salary cap perspective, there's a lot of interest in how this shakes out. Does the cap number go up this year? Does it stay level? Could it even drop a little? These are the same questions we've seen floated during other extensions, and each time the front office has found a way to make things work. That's part of what makes this deal so intriguing. The Bears aren't just tossing money around. There's a strategy here, and it looks like they're playing the long game with this one. But what's really got the fan base buzzing is the broader context. This extension doesn't happen in a vacuum. It comes right as we're staring down the NFL draft, which is now just a little over a week away. And let's not forget, linebacker has been a hot-button issue ever since the team made that controversial release decision last year. A lot of fans were not happy. That move left a hole, and while there's still some solid talent in the room, there's no question the Bears are hunting for more athleticism at that position. They want playmakers, not placeholders. And that brings us back to this extension. This isn't just about locking down a guy who's been reliable. It's about sending a message. This team values toughness. It values durability. And let me tell you, this guy has been the very definition of durable. We're talking 0 missed games in the past 3 seasons. 17 games last year. 16 the year before. 12 in 2020, which, by the way, was the last season with a 16-game slate. And in his rookie year? Yep, all 16. Across 6 full seasons, he's only missed 5 games. That's rare. In a league where injuries pile up like clockwork, having someone you can count on every single Sunday, that's gold. Now, sure, he's not going to blow you away with elite athleticism. Let's keep it real. By NFL standards, he's a fairly average athlete at the linebacker position. But he's smart. He's instinctive. He knows where to be and when to be there. That's what separates him from the pack. Not raw speed, but sharp mind and a knack for being near the football. We've seen him make plays in the blitz. We've seen him rack up sacks, for in his best season, 2.5 the year before. He may not be dropping into coverage like a safety, but he's not a liability either. He holds his own and makes up for the lack of flash with a ton of grit. It's also worth noting that this isn't some outsider. He's got roots here, played his college ball nearby, grew up a fan. This city means something to him, and you can feel that when he takes the field. That connection, that pride in putting on the uniform, it matters. It's not just about filling a roster spot. It's about setting a tone, building a culture, and keeping that fire alive in the locker room. Still, the future of this linebacker core is far from settled. One of the other guys on a multi-year deal has had a rocky first couple of seasons. Decent, but not enough to lock in long-term status. If he doesn't ball out this year, it's very possible the Bears move on. No more guaranteed money, no long-term risk. Just a clean break. But if he steps up, then maybe the team finds a way to keep him around, perhaps at a lower number to keep the cap hit manageable. Either way, it feels like this year is a make-or-break moment for him. Then there's the draft. All signs point to the Bears targeting a linebacker with serious athletic upside, someone who can fly around the field and make plays in space. Names like Carson Schweizinger and Demetrius Knight Jr. keep popping up. Maybe not day 1 picks, but certainly in the mix for day 2 or day 3. There are options, and the Bears know they need to inject more juice into the position, especially with the uncertainty looming around other names on the depth chart. And yet, despite the whispers and criticisms, he's not fast enough. He's past his prime. The truth is this guy has earned his spot. His durability is unmatched. His instincts are sharp. And even if he's not the future at the position, he's absolutely a part of the present. A guy you can rely on when the game's on the line. A voice in the huddle. A presence in the locker room. If you want to draw comparisons, look no further than Demario Davis. Another linebacker who didn't rely on eye-popping athleticism, but made a living being in the right place, playing smart and staying healthy. That's the mold we're talking about here. Someone who may not jump off the tape, but when you break down the film, you see the impact. And for $10 million a year, that's a price most teams would be happy to pay for that kind of production and leadership. You could argue that if he hit the open market, he might have landed something even bigger. 11, maybe $12 million per year. His resume backs it up. But instead, the Bears get ahead of it. Lock him in now. Show some loyalty. And keep building the kind of defense that can grind opponents down. So yeah, this deal gets a thumbs up from me. Not a grand slam, but a solid double at least. I'd give it a B, maybe even a B+, depending on how the rest of the offseason shakes out. The man turns 29 this year. That means he'll be 30 and 31 during the years of the extension. If he gives you 2 more rock-solid seasons and then tails off a bit in the third, that's a win in my book, especially when you factor in how crucial he is to the system and the locker room culture. There's still more to unfold. The draft is right around the corner, and the Bears aren't done building. But with this extension, they've made one thing crystal clear. They know the kind of player they want on this roster. Smart, tough, durable, and ready to put in the work. With the linebacker room taking shape and the contract extensions mostly sorted out ahead of the draft, there's a real sense of clarity around what the Bears are trying to do on defense. But make no mistake, that doesn't mean everything is locked in. In fact, there's still a few lingering questions, especially when it comes to other positions that could see major changes depending on how the draft unfolds. One name that keeps coming up in discussions about potential extensions is a veteran offensive lineman. He's been a cornerstone of the unit, a guy who consistently holds his ground, and someone the coaching staff clearly trusts. But unlike the linebacker who just got his deal done, this one might have to wait. Timing matters here. With the draft just days away, it wouldn't be smart to rush into an extension when you don't yet know who's about to join the roster. If the team ends up selecting a guard or a tackle with one of their early picks, that could dramatically shift the outlook for this veteran's future in Chicago. And that's the tricky part, because on one hand, you've got a player who still performs at high level. He's not just filling a spot. He's still considered one of the better players at his position in the league. Even if there's been a slight dip in performance, he's more than held his own. But on the other hand, age is a factor. Contracting a lineman into his mid-30s always carries a bit of risk. You have to ask, what's the long-term plan? Is he someone you build around for the next 2 or 3 years? Or do you see him as a bridge until the next generation steps in? This is where the draft becomes so crucial. If they grab a high-upside interior lineman who looks ready to start by next year, then maybe you let the veteran play out this season and reassess after. But if they miss on that target, or if the rookie needs more time to develop, then locking this guy in before training camp might become a priority. Either way, this feels like one of those situations where the front office wants to see how the board falls before committing more guaranteed money. And honestly, that's a smart approach. Now let's pivot back to the linebacker situation, because while the extension for TJ Edwards brings stability, it doesn't necessarily solve every problem. The potential departure of another linebacker after this season leaves a big question mark at that position. If he doesn't show significant growth, or if injuries creep in again, it's hard to see him sticking around past this year. And that's why many believe the Bears will target at least one linebacker in this draft who can step in sooner rather than later. There are plenty of mid-round prospects with the kind of athletic profile this front office is clearly seeking. Guys like Carson Schweizinger and Demetrius Knight Jr. have been linked to Chicago, and both bring a blend of speed, agility, and versatility that would complement someone like Edwards well. What the Bears don't want is to get caught in a situation where they're scrambling to fill key roles next offseason because they didn't plan ahead now. That's why even with 2 veterans locked in, this linebacker group still feels like a work in progress. And then there's the looming question: what if they don't take a linebacker until late in the draft? Or what if the guys they like get scooped up earlier than expected? That opens the door to post-draft signings. Maybe someone gets released during camp cuts, or maybe a veteran free agent still lingering on the market suddenly becomes affordable. The Bears have shown they're not afraid to wait and pounce when the time is right, so that's definitely a possibility to watch for. Back to the offensive side, there's also the matter of roster balance. If the team uses high picks on both an offensive lineman and a skill player, say a wide receiver or running back, that could squeeze out depth at other spots. The Bears made a significant investment in the interior offensive line this offseason, which shows where their priorities lie. That unit was a major point of weakness last year, and shoring it up has clearly been part of the offseason blueprint. But if you draft a tackle and a guard this year, do you keep everyone? Or do you start making tough decisions? Maybe letting go of a veteran whose price tag no longer matches his role? That's where things get dicey. You don't want to overcommit resources to one part of the roster at the expense of another. So again, the draft will play a huge role in shaping how the rest of the offseason plays out. And don't forget, we're still waiting to see how the team handles a couple of players with unresolved contract situations. One of them dealt with concussion issues last season, which complicates things. Extending a player who may not be fully recovered, or who might be one hit away from another lengthy absence, is always a gamble. It's possible the Bears ride out this season and make a call next spring. Another player, in a similar boat but without injury concerns, is still unlikely to get a deal before the draft. These are the kinds of moves you make when you're retooling a roster. Calculated, cautious, and flexible. Looking further ahead, it's clear the Bears are building not just for this season, but for 2026 and beyond. That's why so many of these decisions feel interconnected. The extension for T.J. Edwards? It's a short-term commitment that bridges to the future. The delayed extension talks with the linemen? All about maintaining cap flexibility and leaving room for rookie contracts. Even the draft strategy, balancing immediate impact with long-term development, reflects a front office that's trying to keep all doors open. And let's be real, not every move is going to be perfect. Some draft picks won't pan out. Some contracts might not age well. But the goal here is to create a roster that's not dependent on one or two stars, but rather build on a solid foundation of dependable, smart, durable players who can keep you competitive every single week. So as we head into draft week, keep an eye on what happens at linebacker. Watch how they approach the offensive line. Pay attention to who they pass on, because sometimes the picks you don't make say as much about your strategy as the ones you do. The Bears aren't done yet, but if this offseason has shown us anything, it's that there's a clear plan in place, and they're sticking to it. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The football world is buzzing with speculation after Keenan Allen's unexpected departure from the Chicago Bears, leaving fans and analysts alike scrambling for answers. Just months ago, Allen's arrival in Chicago was met with excitement. The Bears were eager to add his proven talent to their offensive lineup, but now, just after a standout season, he finds himself a free agent once again. What led to this surprising move, and what's next for the six-time Pro Bowler? Fans are left wondering if there's more to this story than meets the eye. Allen, who was traded to the Bears in March 2024 from the Los Angeles Chargers, made an immediate impact in his first season. In just 16 games, he amassed 70 receptions, 744 yards, and 7 touchdowns. His 2 touchdown performances against both the Jaguars and the Lions showcased his ability to dominate on the field, and his chemistry with quarterback Justin Fields seemed to be growing stronger with each passing week. So, why would the Bears choose to part ways with such a valuable asset after just one season? Rumors are swirling that Allen's departure might not be entirely voluntary. Some insiders suggest there were internal differences between Allen and the Bears management, with sources pointing to issues regarding team direction and offensive strategy. Others speculate that Allen's age and the Bears need to focus on younger, more cost-effective players may have played a role in this decision. Regardless of the reason, Allen's sudden free agency has raised more questions than answers. As for Allen's future, the options are plenty. With his proven track record and elite-level production, multiple teams are expected to show interest in the veteran wide receiver. The NFL landscape is always shifting, and Allen's ability to make an impact on a new team is unquestioned. But the burning question remains, where will Keenan Allen land next? Will he continue to chase a Super Bowl ring? Or is this the beginning of a new chapter with a fresh team? For now, the situation remains fluid, and every move in the coming days will be watched closely. Keenan Allen's exit from the Chicago Bears may have caught many by surprise, but his story in the NFL is far from over. Fans can only wait and wonder where this talented wide receiver will make his next mark. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.